Hi, Ray.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very good. And I'm very excited about the new chapter.
Yes, here we are again with a new chapter. And what might this chapter be, Ray?
It's all about friends, love, and family. Tell me about it.
Okay.
So, it's a really deep topic
Yeah.
and something what's very open.
Okay. So, friends, family, and love.
Yeah.
That means, yeah, that's a lot. I mean, we can talk about a lot of different things.
Yes, some moments
Yeah,
or
some moments.
situations.
Okay.
People,
Good or bad? Both?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
where's impression of that? Like,
All right.
and
So-
you're gonna start.
I will start. Oh my goodness. Okay, can I have a drink before we start then?
Yes,
So,
please.
cheers
I'm very nervous.
to us and cheers to the listeners.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We're having wine today. What are you guys having today? Maybe that would be cool to post on the comments what you guys are drinking. And maybe if a drink sounds so good, maybe we'll drink it next time. Yeah, I love that.
Because we are like always struggling about the drink.
Yeah, so boring wine. But wine is always good. This one's a really good wine, by the way.
And it's called Rey.
Oh, I like it. Even more. All
But
right.
it's not mine yet.
Did you make it?
Maybe next time.
So let's dive in.
By the way,
Really?
love,
Yeah.
family, and friends.
Yeah.
And my grandma did a great wine by herself. And we are drinking wine tonight. So it will be a good story.
All right, very good.
Just keep it.
Just keep it, pin it.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with that?
No,
Okay.
later.
So what can I start? Let's start for me with family. So my family, what can I say about my family? I love my family. They've known me for 44 years. Guess what? I'm 44 years old. No, I have I'm the oldest of the family. And then I have a sister.
You're the oldest, so you even older than your father?
No, I'm the oldest of the siblings.
Ah, okay. That's okay. I'm the oldest from the family. No, family to me, it's like
before we started?
it's
That's a
my-
yes.
Maybe.
All right. No, obviously my dad and mom are older.
Okay. So how many siblings do you have?
So I have three siblings, two siblings. Myself being the oldest, my sister who's 5 years younger than me, and my brother who's 10 years younger than me. So we have 5 years apart between us. I grew up in Nicaragua. It's not an island.
Middle of the America.
You learned something. I'm proud of you. I grew up in Nicaragua till I was 10 years old. So my brother, when we left, he must have been, almost 1 years old. And we moved to the U.S. in 1989. And funny story. When I went to the U.S., we kind of went separately. Why are you laughing? So we went separately. My dad and I went to Germany, and we were there for almost a year. And then when we left Nicaragua, I didn't know that we were not going to go back.
What city in Germany?
It's called Deslingen, which is close to which is close to Freiburg.
Okay, Freiburg. But you went just like that to Germany? Oh, he was a soldier.
No, my dad was doing a master's. So he got a scholarship and he went. But I mean, obviously, as a kid, I didn't know all this stuff was happening. But my parents knew because when I was in Nicaragua, I went to German school.
That's so strange.
Well, no, they knew that we were gonna eventually move to Germany.
Ah,
That was the plan. I think that was
so
one
it
of
was
the
a
plans.
plan.
Yeah.
I thought.
So I was in 4th grade and I was in Nicaragua in German school. Then we moved to Germany, my dad and I. My sister, my brother, and my mom stayed in Nicaragua. And then almost a year later, I thought we were going back to Nicaragua. But my dad and I stopped in Phoenix, Arizona, where my grandma lives. And then he says, yeah, your mom, sister, and brother are on their way, and we're going to stay here. So they actually came to the United States illegally, and they actually crossed the border by car. And as you can see, I'm very light skinned, so I don't look like a typical Central American boy. Neither does my family. Like, my sister is very blonde. I mean, when we were kids, we were blonde, screen blue eyes. So we crossed the border. My mom, sister, and brother crossed the border, and not, they were just let through. They're like, yeah, we're U.S. citizens, and they're like, okay, just continue. And that's how they came to the U.S. Somehow, all my life, I thought I also was illegal when I went to the US because my dad and I went on a visa, but we overstayed. And I thought when we overstayed that we were also illegal for a certain amount of time until the paperwork started. So my whole life, I'm telling you, telling my story. Yeah, I was here illegally for a while until my parents got their papers. And not till like last year did my family said they're hearing me tell the story, and they're like, that's incorrect. I was like, what do you mean that's incorrect? This is my story. And they're like, well, you were never illegal. You you were actually within the visa. And while we started the paperwork, the visa was still not expired. Like, you were still the only ones who were illegal was my mom, my sister, and brother. And so that changed my whole story that I've been telling the
From
past.
cool to not cool. Because I felt like
Right?
I lived illegally, and I was like, oh yes, we have
Yeah,
something in common.
exactly.
And no, you did
No,
not.
we did not. So that changed my whole persona. My whole story changed.
You're not the same Mauricio
I
anymore.
know, right?
I mean,
What a disgrace.
wow.
I was legal.
Shame. We had it before already. Oh my god, I love this podcast. There's so much shame on you. I love this stories. Tell me more.
I know. So I was very like, holy shit, that was my story, and now my story is no longer valid. But my family grew up in the US. My brother was young, my sister was young. And a fun story, I guess, within the family, and not a lot of people live through this, is that both my grandmothers lived with us. And as you know, maybe in Poland, that's the same thing. Grandmas usually don't get along. Of course, they want to be the head of the house. They want to be, exactly, and always the cook and this and that. And, growing up and seeing that they lived with us for 10, 15 years, maybe less, maybe 10 years, let's say, together in not a huge house. I mean, the way that the house was is my brother and I shared a room. My mom and dad share a room. My mom's mom had a room for herself, and then my dad's mom was with my sister. So it was a four bedroom house. But on one side, it was nice to have both grandmas there. But on the other side, living in that dynamic where the grandmas don't get along was a bit hard. And especially seeing that on your parents, because that's both their parents. Who's right, who's wrong? Like, there is no, they have to be a team. So in a way, seeing my parents, that made me respect them even more, and just say like, wow, like, how did you do that? Like,
But you had a grandma?
what? Favorite, yeah, of course. My mom's, but I keep saying
Because
that
you
wrong.
had both of them at the same
My
place.
dad's mom, I grew up with in Nicaragua. So that was my grandma. And the other grandma I had just met. So we didn't have a relationship. I also think she didn't like me because I was gay. I think she knew, and maybe my feminine side or so as a little kid rubbed her the wrong way, or maybe wasn't what she thought was correct, whatever. So me and her actually never had a good relationship. And My sister was the Switzerland of the family because both grandmas loved her. And funny enough, she has both their names. And so they mixed the names for my sister. And she was the Switzerland. They both loved her. She was neutral, never a problem. But then my little brother, who was almost one, then grew up then with the grandma from my mom's mom. So there was kind of a battle between the two grandmas and the two grandkids. But as an experience, I think it was nice to see that my parents were able to do that. On the other side, there were some definitely difficult times that that you saw that nobody else can say that they lived through that.
But they were happy together.
I mean, yeah, my parents provided for both of them. They had a good life. But the thing is then it comes the families of the families. So then my mom's family is a very big family. My dad's family is a smaller family. But, when the drama, I mean, we're Hispanic, we're dramatic. My grandmas are dramatic. There were a lot of tension between the families of like, you're not treating my mother right. You're not treating my mother right. Like this and back and forth. Again, my parents stay solid. It wasn't easy, but they struggled. But I mean, they're still 8 years together. But seeing that type of commitment that they had and the relationship that they still gave us a good life, I respect that. I think they showed us a lot of love, a lot of like respect within just the knit of our family. There were a lot of problems with everybody else, whatever. But with us, it made us very strong. My sister still lives in the US with my brother, so they get to see each other very often. I get to see them maybe once a year, sometimes twice a year. But we do have a very strong relationship. I talk to them, and luckily nowadays with FaceTime and all this technology, that I can see them, text them anytime. And my sister has a daughter and a son. I love them. She's my goddaughter. And then my brother has 2 daughters as well. So the family's growing. I'm the only one with no kids, but I do have a Frenchie who's my
But who's the blonde one I saw on your private Instagram?
The blonde girl.
It was your niece.
Yes, that's my niece.
Oh my
that's
God, she
goddaughter.
looks.
She's gorgeous, right? She's 16,
Oh,
gorgeous.
she looks really gorgeous.
Yeah, she
I
is
was like,
gorgeous.
oh, who's that top model?
She is
No,
a top
she
model.
really
If
looks
she
like a
wanted to
top
be a
model.
top model,
Yeah,
she could be a
yeah,
top
yeah.
model for sure.
Like,
Yeah. So yeah, my family is everything to me, and I think that's why also now with the family I'm building with my partner, I try to bring those values and just really, not just give up, but any problem that we have, like really work it out, because we can build a really nice future together.
that's so nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
love
look
my
at
family,
Junior.
My
Such a good.
family. Love you guys. Yeah.
Cool.
And I get to see my parents soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you
So.
flying there?
No,
They're coming here.
we are actually gonna meet in Greece.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm very excited to meet
there
in
was
Greece.
Okay.
Yes. And this is the first time that we're together in Greece, so we'll get to show them where, now my family has, vacation.
Because
and
they
we're
are
gonna do
still
different
living there
things.
in
Yeah,
Arizona.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, have they been to Europe before?
Yeah. They came here for our wedding. They've been here a couple times. They love to travel.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's my story about my family. What about you? Do you want to talk also about your family?
Maybe I could, because
Okay.
there are so many funny stories. First of all, my family is not that solid. It's not so huge, or
How many siblings do you have?
none.
You're an only child.
Yeah, I was always by myself, and even cousins, or yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, there's a lot of to tell about, but maybe I will put a spotlight on 3 points, which are
Yes.
also like funny and sad and normal. Like, yeah. And it's about the family, which are always like with me. First of all, it's my mom, who is not like a typical mom to me. And she never was, because her birthday is like week before my birthday. She turned 18, and after she got me.
Oh,
So
wow.
she gave birth to me. And I know that she was very young, and it were different times. So I don't know. In my opinion, I think you have to grow up and live your life, and after that you can get kids or something like that.
Sure.
No offense or something like. But after she got news about being pregnant, the doctor asked her mom, so my grandmother, like, it's a quick show, give me like 10 minutes, and she's not pregnant anymore. And my grandmother took my mom on the hand and said to her, like, come on, he's like a criminal one, he's like a stupid guy, you're pregnant, and we're gonna get the kid, and everything's fine. So it was the very first time I was like, oh my gosh, such a not cool story, it's somehow sad, but something what connected me deeper with my mom, because I could imagine how she felt. And chapeau also to my grandma, because it's like one of the grandmas, not that I don't like, but she was always like not a good grandma. I always loved the other one much more. Shut out. Yeah.
That happens. And it's okay.
Exactly. I mean, I still love her, but yeah.
Exactly.
And this story pushed me like to her. And yeah, the evening she gave birth to me, it was funny because she moved out of her apartment, out from mom, and she moved to my dad. I don't like to call him that, the guy who made me or was a part of it. And they lived together with his mom, my fave grandma. And it was a house, they had a flat, and she was like a ghetto grandma, like, but a good one. And she wasn't that cute. She was like a good soul and a really good person, but she wasn't beautiful or something like that. And the other grandma is like a beauty queen and all this stuff, but she doesn't have the heart and the soul the other had. And my mom moved to her, was pregnant, and the day I was coming, she was like wearing high heels, having a skirt. And I love, because she always tells me about the story every year I have birthday. And then she was like, oh, I have problems with my stomach or whatever. I have to do something. And then she went outside, and there were like no toilets in the flat. It was like you have a toilet outside, and she was always afraid of the toilet because it's just like a black hole. So she went always into a bush or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she was like, sitting there, like for real. And the grandma screamed out of the window, like, Aga, that's the name of my mom. It's okay, I can tell that. Like, Aga, you don't have to, you getting your baby. Let's get inside. I already called the alarm and the ambulance will come pick you up. And my mom was like, oh, for real? And then she sat there with the grandma and was like yelling and screaming, and she didn't know what's happening. And I mean, she was 18, like 1 week after becoming 18. It's like, and then she went into the hospital. They weren't that nice like today and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And they treated her very bad. And even they asked her like, oh my gosh, such a young lady, you are whore, you are what's wrong with you? Get your life together. How can it be? You turned 18 1 week before, and now you're giving a birth to another one. What's wrong with you? And stuff like that. Wow. So I can imagine it was pretty hard to her.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Is Poland a very religious country?
Yeah.
So is it Catholic or okay, so this is why they were very judgmental to your mom being so young and I'm assuming not married.
Yeah. And I mean, the doctor was like, without, not feelings, but he wasn't not taking care. And I mean, if I hear or listen to people who are pregnant nowadays, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like Disneyland to the stories I heard, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And he wasn't very kind to her, but yeah, it was what it was. And then it took her like almost not even 1 hour, and I was like, bloop, outside, without screaming, without
yeah.
anything. They packed me, cleaned me. Then she was just laying there waiting for me, and it took like also 1 hour after she could see me, because they were not that sensitive to give you directly the baby and all the
Yeah.
stuff, and they were checking me, of course, and blah blah blah. And I was very tiny, very small,
Yeah.
and like 100 gram smaller, and I would be landing in a, I don't know how you called it, like a incubator.
Okay. Yeah. An
So it
incubator.
was, yeah, because I was that tiny.
Oh,
And
wow.
her stomach was directly flat. She put the skirt again because it was like with a,
Not.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
so she couldn't make it smaller. High heels on, poof,
Oh my
baby on
goodness.
her hand. Next day
Amazing.
out. Yeah, and then she lived together with my fave grandma, and that's the second story, because my grandma always like, she was an inspiration to me, and I kind of like, because I look somehow like her.
Yeah.
I can even show you picture together with her, because I'm still able to have some with her.
Is she still with us?
No, she passed away,
Okay.
and it was very difficult to me because she had cancer, breast cancer, and she knew, but she didn't want to tell us,
Oh no.
because she was a kind of person who didn't want to make problems. And the thing about this is she's the mom of the guy who made me, which, or who I really hate. I hate this person. I don't even care. But I loved her, like, oh my gosh, double of everything. And yeah, then it came out that she had cancer, but it was that fast that it came out already. And she was just laying there, and I was like 14, 15, and had to say goodbye to her. And she was not even able to move and all the stuff. And it was very difficult moment. And 1 year before, her daughter, so my aunt, who has birthday with me,
Oh wow.
and she turned 18 as I came. So my mom turned 18 1 week after I came out, and my aunt, sister of the guy who made me, had birthday. And she came out from the party and was like, oh my gosh, I'm becoming aunt.
Oh wow.
I'm celebrating double. And we both like Gemini,
Yeah.
and we are always also
So you're
till
close.
today, yeah, very close.
wow,
I love
okay.
her, and I'm always helping out, always for her, and she's always for me too.
Oh,
And
that's
she's
nice.
the sister of the guy, and they still have also like contact, but it's totally separate. And she loves me so much. And her first son was my cousin, and he was like 1 year younger than me, and he died at his birthday in a car accident.
Oh no. How old was he?
He was 16,
Oh.
and he was kind of brother. So it's like a connection
Yeah,
in
a
all
lot
the
of
points.
connections,
That's
yeah.
what I wanted to tell. And yeah, the funny story about my grandma, the lovely one, was like my mom was not waiting with work, so she went to work like after 2 or 3 weeks probably, and my grandma took care of me. And my grandma was a cool one. She was a lady of the night. And she was like, oh, let's have a wine.
Cheers to
Cheers to
grandmas.
her. So she was supposed to take care of me. And that's so funny. I love her. I love her. She's iconic for this story. I love this woman.
Tell me.
She was taking care of me during the day, and my mom was at work. And then my mom was supposed to take a bus back to the town or where they lived, like out of the village. And then she was driving with the bus back home, and they passed by a woman with a, how do you call that? I'm gonna learn now. Kinderwagen in English.
Baby wagon, a carriage.
Baby wagon, carriage.
Carriage. Yeah,
Carriage.
carriage.
So there was a woman with carriage, and you have usually like four of the
Ah, no, a stroller. It's called
stroller.
a stroller.
Stroller.
Yeah, a stroller.
So you have a stroller,
Yeah.
and there was a woman with a stroller
Yeah.
passing by,
Yeah.
and you have usually four of the
Wheels.
wheels, and one of them was off, and she was like, "Oh," and she was obviously a little bit tipsy. Don't call it drunk, tipsy. And my mom was sitting there, saw that, and she was also laughing with all the people in the bus, like, "Oh my gosh, how embarrassing is that? Oh my gosh, no, no way. Oh my, who is this?" And then she went home and she was like, huh? What's wrong? Where's my baby? Where's the grandma? Where's... And then she was like, 1+1, the name of my grandma. And she was like, okay, oh my gosh, no. And my grandma drove her through the village without a wheel.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
But yeah, she wasn't an alcoholic or whatever. She was just enjoying her life. And that's what I loved. She was not taking care. She was caring about the others, not about herself. Yeah. And that's why I always thought like, I don't want to offend her or insult her. But she wasn't, not cute. She was cute, but she wasn't really beautiful. And her husband was...
beauty has... Are you beauty physically or beauty inside?
I mean
there's a
physically,
difference.
because as a
Okay,
kid,
yeah.
I also was like into looking at something. Like I saw very old people, I got afraid of them sometimes. Like for real, it was kind of not my thing.
Traumatized.
Yeah. And my other grandma is like totally the opposite.
Okay.
And that's why maybe I put such a underline for that, but it's something I took out of my childhood life.
Okay.
And that's for what I love her, because I know what kind of woman she was.
Yeah.
She was like not taking care of herself, but she took more care about the other people.
Yeah.
And she was loved by everyone. Everyone knew her, and they were always like, hey, 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 everyone. And she gave everything to me, everything.
Yeah.
So that's why I loved her that much.
Well, cheers in her name.
I really miss her, really.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, right? Because I think it's a interesting topic, and many people have, different opinions about this. And I didn't know the story about, your mom almost having an abortion because the doctor said to have an abortion. Are you for or against abortion?
I'm for.
You're for abortion. As a woman's choice. Or as,
Not like politically. It's not like, oh, you're too young or too old, because in my opinion, I mean, if the body says you can become a baby, it's probably not the right way, but maybe it's too early, of course, but it's possible, so I get and I trust the nature. But if you are living life which cannot manage it, so if we are that far and we can abort it, I'm fully into it. It's like, I'm not okay with people who are getting or becoming babies that young without wanting to do that. Like my mom. And that's the point, because I love my mom, but it's hard to say that, because I would be like not even mad at her if she would do that and abort me. I wouldn't be mad at her. Of course I couldn't be, because I bring you here. But I hope you can follow me what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's kind of big price me as a child has to pay for it, because it's like, even until today, not that easy with her. And I trust and I believe in like old and young souls and all the stuff. And fortunately, I'm like an old soul, or someone who, even if I'm crazy, and as I told you, like living my life, and it wasn't that easy, but that's why I'm also proud about myself because everything I achieved and did, and I am who I am now, I did by myself. And she never helped me. She even made more problems, but I was still able to manage this. But that's the fault of her age. It's
Yeah.
like we
She was
had
too
many,
young.
yeah, exactly. And we had many problems after that because of the age she became me,
Yeah.
like got me.
But I think that's very mature of you to, on one side, say, hey, I kind of see why. Obviously, it's hard that you lived through this, those things that, having a young mother, um, and maybe the situations that you live through. But at the same time, you put yourself and say, okay, these are the reasons why that happened. And may I ask, like, is it like are you still mad, or is it like a forgiveness, or have you gotten to a point where you and your mom are, you know, at an age now that say, hey, look, I know it, we had a rough life, but going forward, we can enjoy it? Or how do you feel about that?
It's a very good point because I wanted to turn back to that, like to tell you, because it's about like I'm proud about her and what she
As well.
did,
Yeah.
because of course I wouldn't be able to live my life like I'm living now because she was that brave to leave the country, and of course she left me alone and she was taking a risk, but at least she did. And she found a new city, new life, and new possibility for us. And it was the first step as I moved to Germany. So I will stay thankful for her because she saw me and she knew that I'm unhappy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy to me to live in Poland. Like, I mean, I'm living Poland now in a different way than I did before because school time and being like with people around you who don't like you and they don't understand you and you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And she gave me this opportunity.
Yeah.
But afterwards, of course, there happened things and stuff which I feel still ashamed of, and I'm still angry and mad and sad. But as I told you, it is what it is. And I'm always seeing the good things in persons and in people. Even if it takes me like for years, for months, for weeks, for days, for hours, minutes, seconds, I don't care. I have to let it out, but after that,
It's a
everything's
process. Yeah.
fine and it's
Yeah.
okay. But what I love about people, and this is what I learned, it's like being honest about things you messed up because it's always coming out.
Yeah.
And I don't feel bad for her, and I know that she loves me and she was not able to do it different. But she did, and hey, it is what it is. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm just thinking about another one who is 18, get pregnant, and she doesn't even want it. I mean, I'm getting mad about women who are not taking care about that.
Yeah.
It's like to me, if there is a surprise or they are really like whore sluts and having their fun, it's okay to me. Do it,
Yeah.
but take care of yourself. And
Yeah.
it's not always like, oh, the guy is the bad one.
Yeah.
And such a
Yeah.
lady, if you don't want to, please abortion, and that's not a problem because oh, there are so many people in the world. Sorry, and for what? Take your time, motherfucker. Take your condom.
As well. I mean, it takes two to get
That's what I mean.
one pregnant, but yeah, yeah, it's a very difficult subject.
Yeah. But what about you? Are you pro or contra?
I you know, I grew up also with a very religious family, and I think that obviously has an influence on your opinion. But at the same time, it is not up to a religion to decide what a person, a woman, can or cannot do. Um, I don't think it's a that abortion should be a a crime, but I don't think it should also be a way of, if you're having sex every weekend and you're getting pregnant, that's not just a way for you to just keep doing it every month or every. I don't know how how that works, but I'm saying it's not a way just to solve the problem every single time. I think you also need to be more respectful of your body. You also need to be more respectful of women. If men, like, if women don't want to have sex or wear protection, that's also their responsibility. It's not just all about the woman. um I don't think it should be done just to do it, because I think it's a very difficult decision that they have to make. um, and that's not up to me to decide what's the best decision for them.
But that's a problem, in my opinion, because our society gets easily used to something, and I don't want to get abortion like a Big Mac at McDonald's.
Exactly, and that's I don't agree with that. Exactly, that's what I mean. That's
But let me explain why I'm also like pro, because I'm also talking about the very first beginning of killing something like bacteria, what we do, like, daily. And in the beginning, do you remember how you was like swimming there? It wasn't you now
Yeah.
then. So to me, it's like more painful and traumatic to the girl,
Yeah, to the
the
girl.
person who is doing that, then to the embryo and whatever, how you call the stadium there. And I don't know, you can prevent so many problems for your future and all this stuff. Of course, the very first step is still condom and still
Or
taking
not
care.
having sex.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not that difficult. To me, it's always such a stupid excuse like, oh, I'm allergic, I forgot, I was drunk, or whatever. To be honest, I did also like have not always safe sex, but I always knew that I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And it was my stupidity. But afterwards, I was learning out of it.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I'm always like, no, take care. Like, for sure. And I'm so proud of myself about that part. This is what I'm proud about, also.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Yeah. I mean, and it is a very difficult, especially what's going on in the US.
They are against.
Yeah, they are.
Like
I mean, I think
In Poland, you
most
go
of
to
the-
jail. if you
most
do
of
that.
the US is not against abortion. I think the religious far extremist rights are against it, and they are actually going forward with that, and I don't think that's right. But I think it should be not my decision. It should be the person's decision what they think is best fits for them. Like you said, it's not just like, get a Big Mac and every weekend and just have an abortion. That's not what I mean. But I think it's not up to me to decide what X, Y, and Z need to do, and that's not up to me. But yeah, that's what I
It's
think.
difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very glad about that I wasn't in this position like my mom, to be
Yeah.
honest. And I don't regret that I got any children till now or whatever. Sometimes I'm thinking like I miss it, or I would.
Do you want to have children?
I would.
Oh, yeah. Okay. There was a
kinda
point in my life that I wanted children,
And I was always against
but
that.
I think,
I'm not a huge fan.
yeah, I think I like having nephews and nieces better
Okay.
than my own children.
And you see, that's the point. Being alone, you
As an
don't
only
even
child.
have the opportunity. I mean, I have many
Yeah, I
friends
see.
as people,
Yeah.
and even one of my best friends is becoming a baby now, and I want to visit her in Germany. And of course, she was like, "Oh, you're gonna be an aunt and a cool
Aw.
one from Swiss and whatever." And of course, I will be, but it's not family. Even if she's like family to me,
Yeah.
but I will still be a cool aunt. I promise. But something like, it sounds dumb or stupid, but out of you, like your
Yeah.
family
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me that boat has sailed. In our relationship, we actually thought a little bit about adoption, but being that at the times in Switzerland that was not possible as a gay relationship. And now being at 44, I'm not going to go there now, then it wouldn't be fair for the child. Of course, there's so many children in the world that need to have
That's
a
the point.
family
Because before
and
I
need
will,
to be loved.
yeah, take it from
And
there or there. There are so
that's
many.
one of the things that drive me crazy about the US and sometimes how the far right and religious people think, like, they want to protect this unborn child. I don't even want to call it a child, this unborn cell embryo. But yet, once they're born, they're being
Then
left
you
behind.
fucked
They're
up.
not
Yeah, exactly.
being treated. They're not being taken care of. Like, what about those kids? Let's take care of those before.
But now we need some human who will
I-
be
I
like drug
find that,
addicted and go into ghetto and whatever. You know what I
find
mean?
that's so sad.
Yeah.
Like, let's take care of the kids that are here now.
That's what
And
I mean.
they are the future. Like Whitney Houston said, they are the future. And if we're fucking them now, we're going to have a horrible future. You know? And the fact that a lot of people are scared of two dads or two moms giving love to this child who the straight parents, by the way, did not give them love. For whatever reason.
How many parents you have, or hetero, gay, straight, blah blah blah.
Love is love. And
Exactly.
when you have love to give,
Give someone
it.
who will take care of it. It doesn't mean that if you have two dads that you will be like gay or whatever.
well, I had a mom and a dad, and I didn't turn out straight, so two gay dads are not going to turn the kids straight.
Yeah.
I mean, gay. Oh man, that was a nice topic there that we went to, and that was very deep. And thank you for sharing that. That was nice.
Thank you.
We still have about love and friendship. Should we just nibble a little bit on
So we can
love
make a
and
special chapter in 3 parts.
Ooh, that would be interesting if we split this into 3 parts.
I mean,
And this would be part 1.
it got so deep and
It took it deep. I did not think we were going to talk about our family.
and it's
I
cool
mean,
that I connected with family
yeah,
and I
well,
could still
it is a
continue.
family. Yeah, absolutely.
But then we could like make a trilogy.
Tri-
Do you call it trilogy?
Yes, why not?
Like
Yeah, then let's pick up
Matrix
and
1, Matrix 2, Matrix 3.
The next chapter is going to be a continuation of our question.
Yeah.
And
We're gonna keep it with family, friends, and
love. And then we can pick the next 2 and go from there.
The next one will be friends.
Either friends and or
Love love at the end.
Have you been in love?
I've been.
You've been in love. Okay, so I'm looking forward to know more about this love part.
I really been.
Once, twice, 3 times a lady.
Lady of the night. No, like for real, 3 times.
3 times in love. 3 times. Wow.
And all of
when
them-
I'm talking about love, I'm not talking about like an obsession, like. Yeah, I
No,
mean,
I'm really
love,
talking
like,
about feelings and love stories.
yeah, I think there
Like,
are different types of love though, because I remember my first love.
Really?
The first love that I thought was the first love. I'm not gonna take anything away from that, but it's not the love that I have now. You know what I mean?
That's a good point, and that's making me curious because my opinion is like my very first love, even if it was trash, and we still have contact. And he was American.
Really? Oh my goodness.
He was a soldier, and he was living in Germany, and we still have contact.
Still to this day.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was living
wow.
in Los Angeles, and now he moved to, Lonnie. Please forgive me. I don't know. Not Arizona. Oh, I have to stalk it.
All right, but maybe on the next podcast.
But
we
it's a
can
good
talk about
point
that.
because I
Yeah.
can talk about this and I mean, very first love is also to me for forever like the
Yeah.
real love.
Okay. Yeah. See,
Even
I
if
think
it was childish
uh,
and like
yeah, but
crazy.
see, that's to me, those are different types of loves. And
And I
to me,
loved
the
him like
first
yeah.
love, I thought like this is love. But now
Okay.
comparing to the love that I have now, I can say, okay, I was in love, and I'm not gonna take away from that, but it's
Okay.
not real love.
Ah, and to me it was real love.
It
That's
real love in that
very
sense
good.
of what I have
Okay.
now. You know.
Oh, I'm so curious.
Yeah, and then about friendships, we're gonna talk about good friendships, bad friendships. You know, because sometimes a lot of people think friendships, you know, the more the merrier. And
And so
I
many
think
mistake
it's about
friendships
quality and not quantity,
quantity.
you know? And I think I learned that as I got older, that quality is really the best friendship
Mm.
rather than quantity. Because when I was 21 going to the clubs, I knew everybody and everybody was my friend.
But what about having quantity and quality?
I don't know if that's true.
It is.
Really?
Yeah.
Then I am curious to hear about
Yeah,
that.
it
So
is.
then let's do that. Let's do this in a trilogy.
Good.
And this was the first part of the family.
Me?
And then the next one
Friends
could
and
be
love.
either friends in love. We see what we do.
Yep.
But stay tuned.
Yeah, and follow us on Spotify,
Yes.
Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and
And
whenever
whoever.
and on
If
the
you see on the street,
please,
yeah,
on
just
the
say hi.
street.
We don't mind taking pictures.
Never ever. And we usually, on the hotspot, Ibiza, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and Poland.
Thank you very much, Ray. That was a really nice podcast.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
a joy.
Very good. And with that, I say
Thank you.
thank you and
Thank you. And yes.